Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It is officially our last week of this kind of crazy virtual learning where there's some assignments that are mandatory, and then there's some that aren't, and you're not really getting graded on anything. Starting next week on the 15th, we're going to start actually virtual learning. So I'm going to be recording myself giving lessons, and I will give those lessons out to you, and you'll have some assignments to do. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop the read alouds. That doesn't mean I'm going to stop making these YouTube videos. It's just going to be a little bit more of a structured time, which I think is going to be really great because it'll be more like a normal school day, and it'll kind of feel like we're going back to normal. With that being said, your reading assignment for today is perfect for what we've been talking about. You need to analyze the plot of a story, and we've been talking about plot for the past few weeks. And I've left this poster up so you can always remember what the different aspects of the plot are. So at the beginning is the exposition. It's kind of the introduction of the characters and the setting, when the story takes place, where it takes place. You're just kind of getting introduced to the story. Then there's the rising action, and that's when you're kind of learning what the conflict in the story is, what the problem in the story is. And that will eventually lead, Rocco, that will lead to the climax, which is the turning point. That's the really big part of the story that changes everything, and it usually kind of gives you it'll give you a hint or kind of a clue to the resolution, how this problem will be solved. Then there's the falling action, which are the events that happen after the climax, and they kind of lead you to the end of the story. And then the end of the story is usually when you hear the resolution. You figure out how the problem has been solved. So I'm going to read a book that we've read together in class. I like to do that because every time you read a book, you can read it for a different purpose. So the first time we read this, it was because I wanted to talk about how to treat other people with respect, and even though somebody might not have as much as you still need to treat them just like you would treat anybody else. And so that was a great reason to read it the first time, but now, this time I'm going to ask you to analyze the plot. Think about the sequence of events and how those events kind of come together to form the plot of the story. It's called Last Stop on Market Street by Matt de la Pena, and the illustrator is Christian Robinson. This is a really great story. I think it just kind of puts a lot of things in perspective, and it makes you really thankful for what you have, because there's lots of people out there that don't always have as much. And it's important to remember to look out for the good things in life. You can always find something beautiful, no matter what your situation looks like. So, like I said, as I'm reading, I'm going to kind of be talking through the different elements of the plot and what I'm noticing as I'm reading. CJ pushed through the church doors, skipped down the steps. The outside air smelled like freedom, but it also smelled like rain, which freckled CJ's shirt and dripped down his nose. So that was the exposition. We're learning one of the characters, CJ. We're learning the setting. It looks like it's in a city, and right now they're coming out of a church. So we know it's probably in the morning or maybe the early afternoon, and there's lots of people walking on this street, so you can tell it's kind of a busy city setting. He ducked under his Nana's umbrella, saying, "How come we gotta wait for the bus in all this wet?" "Trees get thirsty too," his Nana told him. "Don't you see that big one drinking through a straw?" CJ looked for a long time, but never saw a straw. So now we're kind of learning what the conflict is. We're learning that CJ's kind of wondering why they have to do certain unpleasant things and other people don't have to. So this is part of the rising action. These are the events that are leading us to understand what CJ's conflict or problem is. From the bus stop, he watched water pool on flower petals, watched rain patter against the windshield of a nearby car, His friend Colby climbed in, gave CJ a wave, and drove off with his dad. Nana, how come we don't got a car? So again, he's noticing that his friends have things that he doesn't have. His friends have cars. His friends don't have to sit in the rain and wait for the bus. So we're kind of learning that CJ and his Nana might not have as much money as his friends. And that's kind of developing the conflict. CJ's wondering why they don't have as much privilege as his friends do. Boy, what do we need a car for? We got a bus that breathes fire, and old Mr. Dennis who always has a trick for you. The bus creaked to a stop in front of them. It sighed and sagged, and the doors swung open. What's that I see? Mr. Dennis asked. He pulled a coin from behind CJ's ear, placed it in his palm. Nana laughed her deep laugh and pushed CJ along. They sat right up front. The man across the way was tuning a guitar. An old woman with curlers had butterflies in a jar. Nana gave everyone a great big smile and a good afternoon. She made sure CJ did the same. The bus lurched forward and stopped, lurched forward and stopped. Nana hummed as she knit. How come we always gotta go here after church? CJ said. Miguel and Colby never have to go nowhere. I feel sorry for those boys, she told him. They'll never get a chance to meet Bobo or the Sunglass Man, and I hear Trixie got herself a brand new hat. CJ stared out the window, feeling sorry for himself. He watched cars zip by on either side, watched a group of boys hop curbs on bikes. A man climbed aboard with a spotted dog. CJ gave up his seat. How come that man can't see? Boy, what do you know about seeing? Nana told him. Some people watch the world with their ears. That's a fact. Their noses, too, the man said, sniffing at the air. That's a mighty fine perfume you're wearing today, ma'am. Nana squeezed the man's hand and laughed her deep laugh. Two older boys got on next. CJ watched as they moved on by and stood in back. Sure wish I had one of those, he said. Nana set down her knitting. What for? You got the real live thing sitting across from you. Why don't you ask the man if he'll play us a song? CJ didn't have to. The guitar player was already plucking strings and beginning to sing. To feel the magic of music, the blind man whispered, I like to close my eyes. Nana closed hers too. So did CJ and the spotted dog. So again, this is part of the rising action. He's seeing these boys who have an iPod, and listening to music, and he's wondering, why can't I listen to music? And now we're about to reach the climax. This is the part of the story where CJ doesn't really feel that conflict inside himself anymore. He's not as upset that they don't have as much as other people. He's starting to learn how to find the good in life, even though it might seem unfair sometimes. And in the darkness, the rhythm lifted CJ out of the bus, out of the busy city. He saw sunset colors swirling over crashing waves, saw a family of hawks slicing through the sky, saw the old woman's butterflies dancing free in the light of the moon. CJ's chest grew full, and he was lost in the sound, and the sound gave him the feeling of magic. So that's the climax. He's closing his eyes and he's really feeling like the music around him that's being played by the man on the bus with the guitar is magical. And CJ's realizing that he found something beautiful in the world, even though he might not have a lot himself. The song ended and CJ opened his eyes. Everyone on the bus clapped, even the boys in back. Nana glanced at the coin in CJ's palm. CJ dropped it in the man's hat. Last stop on Market Street, Mr. Dennis called. So now that's one of the events in the falling action. Even though CJ and his Nana don't have a lot of money, and CJ's kind of realizing that, he still gave his coin, his probably only money that they had, to the man who performed with the guitar. So he's learning that money isn't everything, and physical items aren't everything. It's important to be thankful for what you do have. CJ looked around as he stepped off the bus. Crumbling sidewalks and broken down doors, graffiti tagged windows and boarded up stores. He reached for his Nana's hand. How come it's always so dirty over here? She smiled and pointed to the sky. Sometimes when you're surrounded by dirt, CJ, you're a better witness for what's beautiful. CJ saw the perfect rainbow arching over their soup kitchen. He wondered how his Nana always found beautiful where he never even thought to look. He looked all around them again, at the bus rounding the corner out of sight, and the broken street lamps still lit up bright, and the stray cat shadows moving across the wall. When he spotted their familiar faces in the window, he said, "I'm glad we came." He thought his Nana might laugh her deep laugh, but she didn't. She patted him on the head and told him, "Me too, CJ. Now come on." And that's the end of the story. And if you notice, CJ and his Nana are actually the ones serving the food to the people in the soup kitchen. So that's kind of the resolution, is CJ is learning to find the beautiful things in life and to not really feel sorry for yourself, to be proud of what you do have and to not look at others and wish that you had what they have. So I hope that made sense to kind of analyze the plot, the sequence of events in that story. Even picture books have plots in them. It doesn't matter if it's a novel that's 1,000 pages long or a little picture book that's like 20 pages. There's always going to be a plot, there's always going to be characters and a conflict and a resolution. So anytime you read a story, you can always look out for those aspects. So I hope you enjoyed reading that story again. Stick around for our math problem of the day, and I will see you soon. All right, our problem of the day today has to do with money. We haven't talked about money a lot recently, but it's really good, like I always say, to kind of brush those cobwebs away and go back to the things that we've learned before so you don't forget about them. This is talking about somebody who wants to buy some stickers that cost 75 cents, and our job is to figure out whether she has enough money to buy those stickers. It says she has 1 quarter, 3 dimes, and 3 nickels. So my first job is to figure out how much money she actually has. So I wrote down the coins she has: 1 quarter, 3 dimes, and 3 nickels. And then just down at the bottom, I wrote how many cents she needs. Just so in my brain I remember what number we're trying to get up to. All right, so she has 1 quarter. Now I know a quarter is worth 25 cents. So I'm just going to put 25 in there. She has 3 dimes, 1, 2, 3. And I know that a dime is worth 10 cents. So this one's worth 10, this one's worth 10, and that one's worth 10. And she also has 3 nickels. And I know that a nickel is worth 5 cents. So 5, 5, 5. Now that's great, but we don't know the total amount of money that she has with her coins. So we need to add all of this together to figure out how much money she has and see if she has enough to buy the stickers. So if I add 25 from our quarter, and we have 3 dimes that are 10 each. So I can add those together: 10, 20, 30. So we have 25 cents for the quarter, 30 cents from the dimes. So far she has 55 cents. Now we need to add the nickels. And there's 3 nickels, and each one is worth 5 cents. So this is 5, 10, 15. So we'll add 15 to the 55 we just found. 5 plus 5 is 10. Carry the 1. 1 plus 5 plus 1 is 7. So I know that she has 70 cents with her coins. Now the question was, does she have enough money to buy the stickers that cost 75 cents? Well, she only has 70 cents. So no, she does not have enough money to buy the stickers. No. That was a really quick problem to solve just because I know very quickly how much each coin is worth. So it's really, really important that you memorize those coin values, because in real life, you just need to work through these problems in your head mentally. And if you don't know how much each coin is worth, then it's really difficult to figure that out. So the sooner you memorize it, the sooner you'll be able to figure it out, the easier that these problems will become for you. I hope that was helpful. I hope that kind of reminded your brain of the money lessons and money unit that we worked on a couple months ago. I know it seems like forever ago, but I promise the more you use it, the stronger your brain will get, and that muscle will just get stronger. So thanks for watching. I miss and love all of you so much, and I will see you soon.